Hey guys, do you know how many pieces a person can be divided into? No worries if you don't. After watching this video, I guarantee you still won't know. But today's case is probably the most fragmented dismemberment case so far. This handsome guy was divided into 56 times 56, which equals 2,368 pieces. The killer boiled the pieces for a few hours and then flushed them down the drain with the broth. And the one who did this was a woman. Indeed, when a woman gets ruthless, men have nothing on her. Be grateful to your girlfriend for not killing you. 20 years ago, in Yulin, Guangxi, an old man named Zhang found his toilet clogged after showing a painful expression. He called a plumber, who unexpectedly pulled out a bunch of meat pieces. Initially, everyone thought the upstairs neighbor had dumped leftover meat into the toilet. But after wiping his mouth, Mr. Zhang discovered there was actually a finger in the meat. Mr. Zhang exclaimed, "Oh my God," and immediately called the police. When the police arrived, they sealed off the scene. After forensic examination, it was confirmed that the meat was human tissue and had been cooked. Comparing with local records, the police identified the owner of the meat as Luo Yuanzhang, a 51-year-old deputy director at Yulin's First People's Hospital, who had been reported missing a few days earlier. The suspect was quickly identified as Li Fengping, a 25-year-old nurse living upstairs. Due to the pandemic, Li Fengping couldn't leave the hospital, so the police split into two teams, one to monitor him at the hospital and the other to search his home. Soon, they found a bloody axe and knife under his bed, and the blood matched Luo Yuanzhang's. The police also retrieved more body parts from the toilet and drain, totaling 2,368 pieces. Li Fengping showed no fear and readily confessed to the crime. When asked about his motive, he became furious. It turns out Li Fengping grew up in a rural area and became a nurse after graduation. Initially, he earned just over 2,000 yuan, but through hard work, his salary increased to over 8,000 yuan. With more money, he started living lavishly, and soon 8,000 yuan wasn't enough. He began taking out loans to fund his lifestyle and quickly accumulated a mountain of debt. Facing this predicament, he didn't give up and started gambling. At first, he made some money, but as he gambled more, he lost more. Hoping to turn his luck around, he ended up with no savings. Yet, he didn't lose hope and continued gambling with loans. Eventually, he amassed over 1 million in. Desperate, he borrowed money from the hospital's deputy director, Luo Yuanzhang, who surprisingly agreed, but at a cost. That's how they ended up at a hotel for the first time. 5 seconds later, Luo Yuanzhang happily handed Li Fengping 50,000 yuan, but this was just a drop in the bucket. To repay the debt quickly, they frequently engaged in intimate activities, and Luo Yuanzhang transferred over 200,000 yuan to him. As time went on, Luo Yuanzhang developed feelings and proposed that Li Fengping have a child with him. Li Fengping was completely unwilling, but the debt on his back left him no choice. In 2020, due to the pandemic, they couldn't go to hotels anymore. One night, a drunk Luo Yuanzhang went to Li Fengping's home, intending to have an intimate encounter. However, Li Fengping wasn't feeling well and tried to back out. Unexpectedly, Luo Yuanzhang threatened to take back the money if he refused. With no other option, Li Fengping complied. 3 seconds later, Luo Yuanzhang was out of breath and fell asleep on the bed. Li Fengping, unable to suppress his anger any longer, grabbed a charging cable and strangled Luo Yuanzhang. Being a nurse, Li Fengping calmly dismembered the body, cooked it in a pressure cooker, and flushed it down the drain. During this time, he also withdrew all the money from Luo Yuanzhang's account. Eventually, Li Fengping was sentenced to death by the court. After appealing, the court upheld the death sentence, and he ultimately faced execution. Finally, a reminder to everyone. After seeing so many cases, it's clear that gambling can ruin lives and families. Avoid gambling.